You ever come home from a science conference, check your backyard security cam, and see your HOA nemesis cannonballing into your private pool with a cocktail in one hand and a DJ booth blasting 80s pop in the background? No, just me. Let me back up. My name's Daniel Clark. I'm a marine biologist. I don't run a lab or sail the high seas tagging whales. No, I work on something much weirder, a compound designed to deter electric eels from swimming into human contact zones. Sounds niche. It is. But it matters, especially for communities that rely on fishing near eel-populated waters. The formula we developed creates a brief but deeply unpleasant sensation on contact, sort of a slimy, staticky tingle. Not toxic, not damaging. But if you're an eel or anything with electroreceptors, you're going to think twice before swimming closer. So, a few months back, I got HOA approval to use my personal, fenced-off, clearly marked pool as a controlled testing site. I put up big red signs. Caution, active marine research zone. Do not enter pool. I even installed motion lights and a reinforced gate. My neighbors knew. The HOA board knew. And everything was smooth. Until Karen. Her real name's Lynn, but everybody just calls her Karen. She's not officially on the HOA board, but she acts like she runs the place. Always waving her clipboard around, policing lawn heights and trash bin placement like she's got a badge. We've had our moments. She once tried to realign my backyard plants to match the street aesthetic. Another time, she moved my mailbox because she thought it threw off the symmetry. But this took the cake. I was gone for 3 days at a conference in Denver. Came back, phone buzzes, motion detected in backyard. I tap the feed, and what do I see? Pyramid cannonball plunging into my research pool, surrounded by flamingo floaties and shrieking neighbors. A full-blown, unauthorized party. Kids slipping, adults panicking, someone yelling for poison control, and Karen flailing in the water, screaming, "I'm melting." Turns out, she had torn down the warning signs, snapped the zip tie off the gate, and hosted the HOA's annual Neighborhood Unity celebration. In my backyard, without asking, told folks she'd made arrangements with a friend. That friend? Me. Apparently. She set up tiki torches, buffet tables, even hired a teen DJ who had no idea he was spinning tracks at a biochem site. The eel gel, activated by chlorine and skin contact, did its job a little too well. What followed was a scene straight out of a disaster movie. People slipping, screaming. One guy fell into my petunia bed. Another took out a wine cooler trying to climb the pool wall. Karen accused me of sabotaging my own property. I walked in with my phone recording, looked her in the eye, and said, "This is an active research pool, Karen. You're standing in eel deterrent compound. Unless you're a South American predator, you might want to get out." She stormed off, soaking wet, yelling about lawsuits and nerve damage. The guests followed, sticky and ashamed. That night, I drained the pool, documented everything, and submitted it to the HOA and local authorities. The gel wasn't the problem. Trespassing, property damage, and unauthorized events? That's where things got serious. But Karen wasn't done. Next morning, she stood on her porch, arm in a fake-looking bandage, telling morning walkers I had booby-trapped a public pool. By noon, she was dropping flyers door to door claiming I'd created a hazardous testing site. Fake chemical names. Made up symptoms. She cropped party photos to erase her DJ booth and make it look like a community disaster. Neighbors came to me, worried. I calmly showed them the paperwork, the HOA approval, the harmless nature of the gel. Most were understanding. A retired science teacher even laughed and said, "This woman wouldn't know fish food from formaldehyde." But it kept escalating. Karen created a Facebook group, Clean Streets, Safe Pools. She filled it with conspiracy memes, blurry screenshots, and claims that I was breeding jellyfish in my pool. One post had a jellyfish with the caption, "This is what's growing next door." That's when I decided to flip the script. I organized an event, Science in the Suburbs. Educational. Open door. Invited families, brought in colleagues from the university. We had laminated info sheets, hands-on exhibits, even a whiteboard that said, "Myth versus Science, Karen Edition." On one side her claims, on the other facts. The crowd? Curious, skeptical, but engaged. Just as we finished a gel demonstration, Karen arrived, wearing a sun hat, sunglasses, and a scarf flapping dramatically. She marched in, waving one of her flyers like a flag. "You've poisoned this community," she shouted. I calmly said, "Karen, this was never a public pool. This is private property, used with permission. You tore down the signs, not me." She sputtered. My colleague added, "Only way that gel hurts is if you sneak in and belly flop into it, like someone did last week." The crowd laughed. Karen turned beet red and stormed out. But her grip on the neighborhood was slipping. A few nights later, 3 teens snuck into my yard, caught on camera, dumping bleach into the kiddie pool. One of them, Karen's son. I triggered the siren. They bolted. I filed a report, sent it to the HOA, and the next morning, Karen was on my porch yelling that I had traumatized her kid. I held up the police report and said, "Actually, Karen, trespassing and vandalism are what traumatize minors." Still, she wouldn't quit. She printed a glossy petition accusing me of zoning violations, marched around with a binder of blurry screenshots, tried tagging local news outlets. Her campaign backfired when Cynthia, the HOA president, returned from a trip and called an emergency board review. Karen arrived late, wearing a blazer and pearls like she was facing Congress. She declared she was recording everything for legal purposes. Cynthia nodded and said, "Great. So are we." The meeting laid it all out: the party, the sabotage, the bleach incident, the smear campaign. When asked if she had permission to host the party, Karen dodged, then finally said, "I thought it was implied." That did it. The board stripped her of any community event roles, barred her from initiating activities, and issued a formal warning. But she still had one move left. She returned during a backyard picnic I hosted weeks later. Walked in wearing a sundress, carrying a pie. "I just want to make peace," she said. Everyone froze. She mingled awkwardly, then pulled me aside. "I was thinking, maybe we bring back the HOA Summer Bash? Your yard's the perfect venue. You're kind of a local celebrity now." I smiled and said, "Karen, if you want to throw a party, ask the person who owns the yard, because it's still mine." That night, someone dumped diluted bleach into the kiddie pool. Again, I drained it, filed more footage, and called for another HOA review. This time, the board voted to permanently ban Karen from any HOA committees or event planning roles. They also filed an official complaint for harassment. I needed closure. So, I hosted one last event invitation only. Theme: float responsibly. Lawn chairs, mocktails, a sign at the center that read, "This pool bites back." Around 11 p.m., rustling near the fence. Karen, dressed in black, crouching low, thinking no one noticed. Someone flicked on the patio lights. I raised my glass. "Care to join us? No eel gel tonight, I promise." Laughter erupted. Karen fled. She sold her house 3 weeks later. Now the pool's back to its real purpose. The research project got a second round of funding. I've spoken at conferences about suburban misinformation and community outreach. People joke when they pass by, "That's the pool that took down Karen." And it did. Not with revenge, not with anger, but with science, boundaries, and a camera that never blinks. If you've ever dealt with someone who thought your property was theirs to control, or been caught in the crossfire of HOA power, please drop your story in the comments. I guarantee you're not alone. And hey, float responsibly.